LeBron James has never been afraid to speak his mind, especially when it comes to pushing the game of basketball forward. On a recent episode of his podcast, Mind the Game, he offered a proposal that immediately sparked discussion across the NBA world. Drawing inspiration from the NFL, LeBron suggested that the NBA create a new award, the Offensive Player of the Year. His logic was simple but thought-provoking. Just as the NFL distinguishes between the most valuable player and the top offensive performer, the NBA could do the same to ensure that elite offensive talents are recognized, even if they don't meet the traditional MVP criteria. LeBron's exact words were clear. "I did think about how the NFL does Offensive Player of the Year and MVP. I thought that could possibly be something in our league. You give an Offensive Player of the Year and an MVP, it changes things." And it really could. Right now, the NBA's MVP voting process is a mixture of performance, impact, narrative, and often media influence. As ESPN's Ramona Shelburne once admitted, even voters can fall into the trap of choosing storylines over stats, which leads to controversial outcomes and snubs. LeBron's idea touches on a growing frustration. Many fans and players feel that there isn't enough clarity around what the MVP is supposed to reward. Is it the best player in the league, the most impactful, the most important to their team's success, or simply the one with the flashiest stat lines and highlights? By creating a second award focused solely on offensive contribution, the league could separate pure production from overall value, giving scorers and playmakers their due without diluting the MVP title. It's worth noting that this isn't some casual comment from LeBron. He has always been a student of the game, and his experience in both dominating offensively and being overlooked in MVP conversations gives him a unique perspective. As he continues to shape narratives, even in the later stages of his career, this proposal demonstrates his influence, not just as a player, but as a voice for change. And let's be honest, LeBron isn't the only one who would benefit from such a distinction. Think about players like James Harden during his peak years in Houston or Luka Dončić today. They put up historic offensive numbers, but their MVP cases are often dismissed due to team performance or defensive concerns. An Offensive Player of the Year award would finally give them the recognition they deserve. As we move forward, the question becomes whether the league is open to this kind of evolution. The NBA has already added several new awards in recent years, including Clutch Player of the Year and Conference Finals MVPs. So LeBron's suggestion doesn't feel out of place, it feels like the next logical step. And coming from someone of his stature, the league might take it more seriously than if it had come from a media pundit or a mid-level player. In the next chapter, we'll explore the complexities of implementing such an award, including how it would be defined, how it differs from the scoring title, and what challenges might arise if the league decided to adopt LeBron's vision.
As intriguing as LeBron James' proposal may sound, the reality of implementing a new Offensive Player of the Year award in the NBA comes with some tough questions. What exactly would this award measure? Would it focus solely on raw scoring, or would it account for total offensive contribution, assists, efficiency, spacing impact, even hockey assists? These are essential questions because one of the biggest challenges in the MVP conversation has always been the lack of objective criteria. Introducing another award without a clear foundation could risk creating even more confusion instead of solving the issue. There is already a scoring title awarded each season to the player who averages the most points per game. On the surface, that might seem like it already covers offensive excellence, but LeBron's point goes deeper. Being a great offensive player is not just about putting the ball in the basket. It's about creating opportunities for teammates, making the right reads, drawing double teams, and dictating how defenses operate. A player like Nikola Jokic, for example, might not lead the league in scoring, but his offensive brilliance as a passer, screener, and decision-maker could still make him a prime candidate for such an award. However, this leads to a key complication. Without a strict, quantifiable formula, the Offensive Player of the Year might become just as subjective as MVP voting. If voters are already struggling to define most valuable, how would they define best offensive player? Would advanced stats like offensive rating or usage percentage be considered? Should team success play a role, or would it be ignored to focus solely on individual output? Another factor to consider is fan and media perception. Would fans view this new award as meaningful or as a consolation prize for players who couldn't win MVP? And how would players themselves treat it? Would it enhance the legacy of offensive juggernauts or just complicate the awards landscape further? The NBA has done well in recent years to modernize its award structure, but too many categories could lead to award fatigue and reduce the prestige of each recognition. Then there's the playoff factor. In the current MVP debate, a player's team record and playoff potential often influence the final vote. But what if the best offensive player is on a struggling team? For example, if a player averages 35 points and 10 assists but misses the postseason, should they still win the award? This is where the debate mirrors the MVP controversy and again raises the issue of how much team success should weigh against individual dominance. LeBron's idea, while rooted in fairness and balance, requires careful design to ensure it doesn't simply duplicate the MVP debate under a different name. If done right, though, it could help provide clarity in an increasingly complex awards landscape. By rewarding pure offensive performance, apart from defensive impact or narrative-driven elements, the league could finally create space for players whose statistical brilliance deserves spotlight, even if their teams fall short. As we move into the final chapter, we'll discuss why the timing of LeBron's proposal matters, how it fits into the NBA's ongoing evolution, and why the league might actually be ready to embrace a change like this.
The timing of LeBron James' proposal to create an Offensive Player of the Year award is not accidental. It aligns perfectly with the broader evolution the NBA is already undergoing. Over the last several seasons, the league has shown a willingness to adapt, innovate, and modernize. From embracing the play-in tournament to introducing in-season competitions and expanding award categories like Clutch Player of the Year and Conference Finals MVPs, the NBA is clearly open to change. And when one of its most influential figures speaks up with a well-reasoned suggestion, people listen. What makes this moment different is the combination of data and player power. Advanced analytics have become more accessible and influential than ever, giving fans and voters deeper tools to assess performance beyond the box score. At the same time, players like LeBron are no longer just athletes. They're brand builders, commentators, and thought leaders. When he proposes an idea on a global platform like his podcast, it reaches millions instantly and sparks a legitimate conversation. Adding an Offensive Player of the Year award could also help resolve long-standing tensions in award debates. Each season, MVP discussions become clouded by conflicting narratives. One voter favors team success, another leans on statistics, while someone else prioritizes impact. The result is often polarizing and, frankly, unfair to players who have remarkable individual seasons but get overshadowed by team dynamics or voter bias. With a separate offensive award, those players can be celebrated without needing to check every MVP box. Moreover, this could create fresh narratives that engage fans throughout the year. Imagine a season-long race between two offensive titans, one putting up historic scoring numbers, the other orchestrating the league's best offense through elite passing and playmaking. Fans would have something to track, debate, and rally behind outside of the standard MVP race. That's good for the league's visibility, media engagement, and the players' legacies. For the Lakers, this conversation takes on added significance. With Luka Dončić and LeBron James leading the offense, both could emerge as strong candidates in a season where offensive production is expected to be through the roof. The team is building around high IQ, high-efficiency offensive players, and such an award would shine a spotlight on what they do best. Of course, implementing this award won't be simple. The league will need to clearly define its purpose and criteria, but the interest is already there. Fans are hungry for clarity, and players want fairness. It feels right. If the NBA is serious about evolving with the times, it should take LeBron's suggestions seriously and begin the conversation with players, coaches, analysts, and executives. As always, the NBA's strength lies in its ability to adapt while keeping the game's essence intact. LeBron's proposal is not just about awards, it's about elevating the way we talk about greatness.
And if the league listens, it could create a better, more complete system that honors every facet of elite performance. If you're a Lakers fan or just someone passionate about the game, we want to hear from you. Do you agree with LeBron's idea? Should the NBA add an Offensive Player of the Year award? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe to Lakers Nation now for more in-depth stories and updates straight from the heart of Lakers basketball.